Alright, so a lot of you have asked me how I post my art on Instagram without losing any image quality. So in this video, I'm going to show you the entire process of exporting your image to your phone, then getting it onto Instagram using all of the right settings. And by the end of this video, you should know how to post your art on Instagram. And you should also have learned some other cool stuff. So anyways, what you see right here is a sketch that I've done a little while ago, and I'm going to show you how I would post this on Instagram. So the first thing to notice is that the canvas right here is pretty large. It has a size of 4000 pixels by 4000 pixels at a resolution of 300 dpi. Now this is pretty huge, and the reason why I like to work on large canvases is because they give me enough space to draw on, and I have the possibility to print out all of my illustrations later on. The problem is, if I were to try to post this on Instagram, the app, so Instagram itself, wouldn't know how to handle this file because it's too large and there would be some weird artifacts. Another problem that I see with a lot of beginners is they work on canvases that are too small. So for example, let's just create a new canvas out of this and downsize it to what I see what beginners do. So they have a canvas that is 500 pixels big. And the problem is that Instagram requires a minimum size of, I believe, 1500 pixels. So it's going to try to upscale this, but you see that it's getting pixelated and a little bit blurry. So it doesn't maintain its image quality. So what I would recommend is that you guys always start out with a large enough canvas. And so the way to do this is you click on File, then on New, and there's going to be this little menu right here where you can set up your new canvas. Depending on how powerful your computer is, use a size of at least 2000 pixels. And for the resolution, anything above 100. And then you just click on OK, and you will have a new canvas. And this will be large enough to post on Instagram. So anyway, so going back to my sketch, this one is obviously way too big because it's 4K and Instagram can't handle these large files. So we need to downscale it and make it smaller. And so the way to do this is you would hit File, Export Single Layer, and here you can select what type of file it's going to be. And so usually you can select between JPEG or PNG. In my case, I'm going to use JPEG because it doesn't really matter when it comes to Instagram, and I just want to save some space on my hard drive. Alright, so when we click on JPEG, you will have the possibility to select the folder where you want to save it to and also to give it a name. So you need to get your file onto your phone. And I'm using a Windows PC. If you're using a Mac, it's going to be way easier because you can just use airdrop to airdrop the image onto your phone. But because airdrop doesn't exist on Windows, we need to use an alternative. And so I'm going to use Dropbox for this. Dropbox is basically a cloud where you can save some of your files. And all of the devices that are connected to your Dropbox have access to those files. So I'm going to save this image into my Dropbox. I'm going to give it a name. So let's just call it Sketch 1. And now we're going to have a new menu where we can specify the export settings. So down here where it says specify output size, you want to enter 1700. This is usually a size that works pretty good for me. So I've noticed that anything between 1500 and 2000 pixels works pretty good on Instagram without having any weird artifacts or loss in quality. So just enter 1700 or anything between 1500 and 2000. Also make sure that where it says quality, that it's at 100 because you don't want to lower the quality of your image. And then you're just going to hit OK. Then there's going to be this little export preview window. Just hit OK again. And now your image is going to be in your Dropbox and you should have access to it on your phone. Alright guys, so now that we have the drawing in our Dropbox, we basically just need to get it onto our phone. And the way to do it is pretty simple. We just open up Dropbox and we're just going to click on Sketch 1 and here it is. So we're just going to hold until it says Save to Camera Roll and it should be in our photos. So just to double check, let's open up our photos and here it is. Before we actually open up Instagram, I just want to show you a real quick tip on how to save time when entering tags on Instagram. So what you want to do is you want to click on Settings, then you want to go down to General, Keyboard, and Text Replacement. And so the cool thing is you can set up tags here or any kind of keystrokes or sentences and apply a shortcut to it. And so anytime or every time you enter this shortcut, it's going to replace it with all of your different tags. So the way to set this up is you're going to click on plus, and here it'll say phrase and shortcut. So the phrase is going to be all of your tags, and the shortcut is going to be the word that triggers the shortcuts. So for example, we're going to enter into the phrase, we're going to enter some tags. So let's just enter drawing, sketch, and just make sure to separate them with a space in between. So we have drawing, sketch, and let's say illustration. And so for the shortcut, let's just call it YouTube. All right, and so now that we've set up our shortcuts, we'll just move on to Instagram, and I'll show you how to use these in a second. All right, so I just opened Instagram, and the first thing we'll do is we'll just open up our image and click next. And so I'm not going to use any filters here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the edit tab to do some quick edits on this photo. So I want to increase the contrast just a little bit and make it a little bit warmer. And that's about it for this image. So usually I don't use any of these effects, or if I do, then just a little bit, just to kind of make the image pop a little bit more, but that's about it. And then when you're happy with it, you're just gonna click on next. And so now when it comes to writing a caption, you're just gonna write, "This is my latest sketch." And then you wanna click return to start a new line. And what you're gonna do here is you're gonna trigger your tags now, the ones that we set up earlier in the settings. So the way to trigger them is just by entering YouTube and then hitting space, and you'll see that YouTube gets replaced with hashtag drawing, sketch, and illustration. And so now this gets super useful if, for example, you have 50 tags or something. So let me just show you my tags that I'm using on a regular. So I'll use my art is the phrase that I use to trigger these. And then I click space, and you'll see all of the tags that I'm using. It's super useful because you'll save a lot of time. So usually the way I used to do this, and this was like years ago, I had to input them manually, and this took me like 10 minutes. So this is a quick time saver. And yeah, just a really cool trick. Most of you probably already know about it, but I just wanted to show it anyways. All right, so for the location, you can enter whatever. So sometimes what I do is I play around with it. So you can enter New York, even though you're not in New York. And the cool thing is perhaps you'll reach an audience that you didn't reach before, because if you put in New York, there's a chance that people from New York get to see your post. So that's a cool trick to get a few new followers. So anyway, just use whichever location you want to use, then select the account you want to post it to, and then just share. And that's about it. Alright guys, so this wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it useful, then perhaps give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not a subscriber to my channel yet, then hit that subscribe button. And as always guys, I love you with all my heart and soul. Peace.